Well, I sound like a Joan Rivers, like, trucker, possibly.
No.
A baby that smoked too much.
No, I'm not getting that.
Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. Because we have some special guests, I'm making my voice extra buttery today because they are good friends. We've got Jen and Lindsay, the creators of sundogsfire.com, are here with us, and we talk a lot about the buttery factor in vocals, and so I promised them an extra buttery vocal, and I'm surprised my sisters haven't started laughing yet, because this is usually where they're
texting each other.
We are literally texting each other about your voice right now.
Okay.
And how, like, yeah, I wish I need to videotape myself reacting to your voice next time. A picture doesn't do it justice.
But before we get to our guests, first, again, I'd like to see how my sisters are doing. Lily, you are in the Canary Islands, and once again, you are still being visited by our all-time most famous guests on the podcast, Mom and Dad. How's everything going?
Everything's great. I've got, it's like being around celebrities who are always in that shot of they're just like us. I don't know if that makes any sense.
So you mean
That's how I feel.
well,
I feel.
Mom in particular, because Mom, when she dresses up for like a party, super elegant. When she gets off a plane, looks like she slept on the floor of the plane.
But it's hilarious being with the two of them.
That's amazing.
It's great though.
Not to tell a story for you, but like 2 days ago, I call Mom and she picks up her FaceTime while she's speed walking down like the boardwalk of a beach and with the camera facing her, and I'm just thinking, please God, don't fall into a hole. And all she says is, you are never gonna believe what happened to me. And I'm thinking, oh, I 100% believe what happened to you. Right?
Whatever it
Something
is.
about her leaving a phone on a catamaran, or I don't know, or with a fisherman.
She left her iPhone on a catamaran that she wasn't on even. Like, this is a boat that could have easily gone out to sea with somebody else. And she was just, like, walking by. She's like, Lily, take a picture of me in front of this catamaran. I take a picture of her. We keep walking. She leaves her little purse with her cell phone in there. 6 hours later, I get a phone call on my phone from her. I'm like, Mom, why are you calling me? She's like, I'm not. Yes, you are. I pick up the phone. It's like a Spanish lifeguard on a public beach being like, I think I have somebody's phone. And I was like, are you kidding me? She always loses like really expensive stuff and gets it back. Like, it's unbelievable. And then she tells Becky, "You're not going to believe what happened to me." And Becky's like, "I believe it." This is classic.
Well, I've been traveling, and I was flying back from a trip for work, and I was in the Frankfurt airport, and Mom and Beck both had the same exact reaction to me, which was, did you use the showers in the lounge?
I definitely did not text you that.
I feel like you did. And I just want everybody to know that my nightmare is showering in a public shower at the equivalent of a rest stop.
Well, it's like a fancy lounge.
Doesn't matter. It's so gross. Anyways. Becky, how are you? What's happening out there in California?
Oh, how am I? You know, I would say I'm great, with the small exception of the fact that my baby pooped on my bed this morning. So,
you brought that upon yourself. You had a baby and you put her in your bed.
And Lily,
yeah, but to be fair, she was wearing a diaper, a onesie, and some pants, and it broke through all the layers and soaked my sheets.
So what's funny about this, Lily, and you missed this on the pre-show conversation that Lindsay had to endure while I did the technical support, is that I 100% wasn't paying attention to that picture, and I thought the picture Becky sent us was that where she said, like, this is what happens when your baby sleeps in her bed, and I was like, wow, Becky didn't want to move, so she peed her own pants. So I thought the picture that Becky sent of these like soaked through pants were her own pants. And I was like, I don't remember anybody having a baby and peeing their pants just because they didn't want to wake the baby.
Yeah, and it also turns out it was a giant stinky poo.
All right.
Not me.
All right. Well, okay, now let us get to our guests. And I would, we've had the opportunity to interview some pretty amazing people and some dear friends and some people we admire. But I am so thrilled to have Jen and Lindsay on because this is an opportunity for us to chat with truly two of my artistic heroes. And I'll explain a little of the backstory, which is that, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago even, when I was starting the initial phases of the whole pancake for the table thing, pre-podcast, pre-animations, all of that, I drew in Crayola pencils a picture of the characters in Troll Hunters reimagined as the band Rush, having no idea that there's this world of incredible artists out there who devote a tremendous amount of energy to drawing amazing Rush-related art. And so I tweeted it out, and I think I probably had like 40 followers at the time. And Lindsay retweeted or said something nice about my tweet, and suddenly I got opened up into this amazing universe of incredible artists, including Jen, and got to know all these incredible folks and who have been so supportive, but themselves, it's like genuinely intimidating to be around them because these folks are real artists, but have been truly inspiring to me. And so I would say like a lot of the artistic stuff I'm going on, I can trace back to the support and inspiration from these two folks. So with that, Jen, Lindsay, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you after.
Yay! It's working.
It's working.
Such a privilege to be here.
I'm just listening to you, say all this nice stuff here with my phone on mute, so you couldn't hear me, but the whole time I'm like, oh, thank you, you're so I'm here by myself in the airport.
Oh yeah. So
I'm here nodding like an idiot, like you guys can see me.
I'm doing that too while actually vocalizing it and looking even more dumb because I'm here in public.
So it's truly an honor to have you here. And to start off, I want to. It sounds like they're announcing the boarding of a flight.
I found the quietest place. I'm so sorry.
No problem. So I want to start off by just asking you guys some questions about some of your art and the new website that you all founded called sundogsfire.com. I'm going to say it repeatedly because people should go to that site and check out the amazing art and buy all sorts of cool stuff. And I'll start with Jen, since you have been using the name Sundogs Fire. Where does Sundogs Fire come from?
Yes. Well, it comes from what was my favorite song at the time that I first made the site. You don't know this, but before we actually started this was a different site that I renovated. And I was trying to think of a name because I had to come up with a domain. And I didn't want to use my own name because I thought that was lame. And in the background, I'm singing Sundogs Fire on the horizon. I was like, hey, wait, that makes a cool website name, Sundogs Fire. Yeah, let's go with that. And that's kind of how I came up with that name.
All right. Well, it works. And what drew you to renovate, to recreate this new amazing site, and, of course, bring in the amazing partner in Lindsay?
Well, I don't know if you know, but before we started this, I have been doing online business and stuff for a while. And this was actually my starter site when I was first learning how to sell things online, but it was kind of dead because there was nothing but crap there. And I was like, I'm never going to use this site again. And then eventually, one day me and Lindsay are talking and everyone's we're always joking around oh, collab, you guys should collab. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, we were like, yo, we totally should collab on something. What should we do? And then it just hit me one day that, you know what? I have that site lying around that I haven't done anything with in months. What if I turned that into something new? And me and Lindsay, and this was even before I asked her, I had all these ideas. I'll ask Lindsay, maybe she draws great, and maybe she'll draw some stuff for my site. And then, I asked her, and she was on board, and the rest of it is history.
That is awesome. Well,
and just to let you know, Shai, as soon as we agreed upon the concept of the site, we immediately thought to include you as well. It was so hard to keep that from you for such a long time.
Yeah, that was.
Well, I am
this
honored.
was a secret for the longest time. We were going back and forth, and
Oh, Lindsay, remember there was a time that I think even you, he had sent us a three-way conversation on Twitter, right? Saying,
Yes.
hey, we should collab sometime. And meanwhile, in the background, me and Lindsay had our own conversation going on, like, oh my gosh, should we tell him? No, we shouldn't. We're not going to tell him. We're already talking about that. But, now we got to plan something.
That's so cool. Well, all right. Now I'm going to turn to Lindsay, who I did my monologue at the beginning. I won't embarrass her further. So, Lindsay, a lot of your art is inspired by the band Rush.
That is correct.
Where does the connection to Rush, where does it start for you? Where does that connection for Rush start for you, and how is it important to your art?
Well, to make a very long and boring story short, there is a band called Ninja Sex Party. It's a comedy band. Yeah, if you've heard of Game Grumps on YouTube, one of the co-hosts of that podcast is named Danny. He's part of the band. He's a huge Rush fan, and they had released an album full of covers of like popular 80s songs, and I've wanted to support them forever, so I decided to pick up the album. And what happens to be on that album is a cover of Subdivisions.
Oh, such a great song.
And one day at work, I was there about 2 hours early to open the store, and that song had come on, and I listened to it over again for the entire 2 hours. It just impacted me in a way I can't even describe. I was just blown away by the lyrics and that 80s synth sound that I love so much. So that got me looking into Rush, and the rest is history. Just instant attraction.
And what are some of the things that inspire some of your other art? Now, I don't know how much you want to talk about all your different cool projects, but I know you have original characters that are amazing, and you do doodles of the day and things like that. But anyways, what are some of the other things that inspire your work?
Yeah, I don't share a lot of my non-Rush art, and that's a bad habit of mine. I need to fix that. But basically, my original characters, I've had them since middle school. I was homeschooled until 8th grade, so public school was a big culture shock for me, and those characters kind of were born out of the misery of that, let's say.
Well, I've seen those characters, and I have bought multiple items with them on them.
And I'm so grateful. Thank you.
And my kids love them. In fact, we lost one of the notebooks recently, and that was a chaos here. We found it.
That makes all the public school misery worth it.
That's good. And Jen, could you tell us a little bit about what inspires your art? Now, you cross so many different styles with your art. I mean, there's fanciful things, there's cartoons, there's all sorts of creatures. Where does that come from?
Yeah. Well, I've been drawing literally in the words of my parents since the moment I was first able to pick up a crayon. So I have like literal decades of inspiration, and it's usually just whatever I'm feeling at the moment. And I do have my own original characters that inspired a lot of the ideas. But then it's just, I can't even say I have like one certain style anymore because it's so fluid. Like one day I'll just like be feeling like really, I don't know, happy or inspired by something and draw something like fantastical. And the next day I'll be feeling emo, so I draw something like really dramatic and grotesque. And the next day I'll just be listening to Rush all day and be like, hey, I'm going to do something like inspired by this Rush song. Like, here's a shark in space, so I'm going to call it Natural Science.
Oh,
and it really depends on the day and my mood and, everything around me. It's just so fluid.
Well, all right.
There's another announcement. Whoops.
It's okay. We will get back at the end and plug the site some more, but it's sundogsfire.com. And now we're going to switch into our first segment of the night, because I know that it's getting late where Lily is. And late nights in Lily's house means one thing, and that means watching
dinner time.
Horror movies.
Well, two things.
Watching horror movies. And Jen, I don't know about Jen's fandom, but I know Lindsay's a huge horror movie fan, so I thought it was a perfect topic. But the
glutton for punishment.
The three scaredy cats in my family have a very complicated relationship with horror movies. When I was little, I used to go in the VHS area of West Mountain Video, which was the local video store, where my mom had somehow convinced the owners to give us 2-for-1 videos for life. Like, we'd go in there with this little membership card and force them to honor these 2-for-1 videos forever. It was like a promotion they did once, and then Mom made them have that for us forever. And right by the front of the cashier where you'd go to pay, there was this section with all of the classic 80s horror movies, the Friday the 13th and the Freddy movies and all that. And those scare the life out of me, the concept of them. I've never seen a full one. But I also always used to pick up the boxes and read the back and look at the horrific images that they'd put on the back to get you to want to rent the movie, and then get nightmares from that. And it was this horrible cycle of like running past them but then looking at them. Anyways. Lily, how about you? What is your relationship with horror movies?
Well, I used to not have I mean, like when I was a little kid, I didn't like them for sure. There's like, I know that there's kids that like them from like 5 years old and stuff like that. That wasn't the case, but I would say when I was in high school, I saw The Ring, when it came out, and I wasn't bothered by quote unquote like scary movies when I was a teenager. But then as I got older and moved abroad, I don't know, maybe because I was far from home, I was just like, you know what, I don't need this crap. And I just definitely was like, why do this to myself? And I definitely got less into them. But then by coincidentally married into a family that is like obsessed with horror movies, and they can't find a movie that's scary enough for them, which is like awful. It's like they're on this eternal search for like terrifying movies, and at the end they're always, and I'm talking about like my mother-in-law, brother-in-law, and my husband, and
right. So the way we get together to watch Can't Hardly Wait, they get together to watch the Purge movies.
Yeah,
exactly. Which is like
very
comedy
hard time
to them. The Purge is not even on their radar. And I'll just say a quick 2 stories was that I don't know if you guys even know this. The first, when I met my husband, he's like this, Spanish dude, and we met. I was like 23 when we met, and he was 28 or something like that. And he, he's like cool and all that. And one of our first dates, he went, he's like, let's go to the movies. And I was abroad. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Sure, I'll just go along with it. And he thought it'd be like a normal movie to go see would be Saw. Right, I think it's the first Saw that came out, or the second. Now, we didn't have, we didn't know each other that well, and I didn't want to be like not cool, right? Like, and I'm like, okay, I'll go see that. And literally, we're maybe about half hour into the movie, I literally get up. I turned to him and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I walked right out of the theater. And I was like, you seem like a really nice guy, but like I can't do this. I cannot like start a lie, like live a lie like this, that I'm gonna watch these kinds of movies. That one was terrible with like the torture and everything. So I leave, and he like runs after me. He's like, oh my God, are you a loser? And I'm like, yes, I'm a loser. I will not watch this movie. You can stay, but I'm leaving.
I feel like,
wow.
Yeah. I have a scary movie story that involves Shy, actually. I had a love-hate relationship with the original movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Christy Swanson and Luke Perry.
Not a horror movie. That's like a kid's movie.
No. To me, that was a horror movie. Just so now we can set my barometer. That is 100% what I consider the horror movie as a kid. Absolutely. And I remember watching it and just being like loving it, but being so scared of it and not being able to sleep at night. So Shy, I remember you coming into my room and like tucking me into bed and explaining to me why the vampires couldn't get in the house, and actually like helping me go to sleep after watching it.
Oh, that's really cute.
I'm a good older brother.
Now my in-laws, though, now it's like this horrible peer pressure thing. Like they peer pressure you into watching a movie with them, and now I'm comfortable with enough to be like, I'm just gonna go to bed, or I'm gonna go watch my own thing. You guys enjoy, and they're like, no, come on, like you got to do it, and I'm like, no, guys, I don't. But I often end up getting peer pressured into watching these like terrifying movies. I cover my eyes. They make fun of me the whole time, and then they will hide behind things and scare me after. Like, it's really not, actually, that I think about it, I'm saying it out loud, it's not a healthy relationship.
That is.
This family gets so much joy though out of horror movies and scaring the crap out of each other.
Oh my goodness. All right, Lindsay, you are a horror expert. In fact, one of your original characters, part of that character is that she watches horror movies, correct?
Yes, that is correct. She's based off of me in a way, in that aspect, I should say.
What is your favorite horror movie genre, or what do you love about horror movies?
Well, I just want to say really quick to Lily, being peer pressured into a horror movie is no way to experience a horror movie.
Exactly.
It's actually very terrible. My parents, being as evil as they are, peer pressured me to watch The Exorcist when I was 10 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I spent 90% of it under the covers, and it's haunted me to this day. But it turns out I really love the movie now, so maybe they did something right. I'm not sure.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So
It's hard to say where the horror movie thing started with me. I've always been a gamer, and horror games are it's a very unique experience with horror games, so I think I kind of transitioned from there. Being scared can be a fun experience in a safe and a controlled environment, of course.
How hard. I played the Ghostbusters, like the new Ghostbusters video game that they made, the one that had all the voices of the actors, and that scared me too much.
That's a cool game, but that doesn't count.
That's scary.
Does that go in the same bucket as Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, of course, is a masterpiece. I don't know if I'd consider it a horror movie, though.
No, but that video game, you're like lurking around, like under the ground, looking ghosts jumping out. I was like, nope, can't keep playing this.
I think the horror genre has the most potential when it's done right, and it's not done right very often.
Oh, okay, all right. Now let's go to Jen. Jen, do you have any thoughts on horror?
I want to follow up on that later on. I want to know what is done right. That's going to be a good one.
I was just thinking that.
I think we're going to get into that during Buy, Rent, or Mad. I feel it. So, Jen, I just want to make sure, Jen, now what's your horror movie connection?
Well, for me, I pretty much grew up with it. As long as I can remember, my parents, especially my mom, she loved the classics like Frankenstein and Dracula. And like they were always putting on like these scary movies. So as a baby, I grew up around that stuff. I was kind of immune to it. And I remember a particular funny story, and I wish they would stop making an announcement every time I say something. Like it's literally quiet until I open my mouth.
It's okay, all good.
I think this is a horror movie. No, but so I used to love, I don't know if you guys know or remember, it's not a movie, but there was a series in the 90s called Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, yeah, gosh. Sure. The Crypt, and just the notion of the Crypt Keeper scares me.
The Crypt Keeper. Mm-hmm.
I was obsessed with that, and I wasn't even like 5 yet, and I would just be staring at the TV, just waiting for the guy to pop out of the coffin, and I would go and I would laugh. Meanwhile, my little sister would run away and cry from it. And I was fine with that, but there was one thing that freaked me out so much and made me cry when I was little. Like, I could watch these zombie movies, the horror, the gore. The one thing that made me cry more than any horror movie was, you probably remember this commercial from the Nabisco cookies with these dancing chocolate chip cookies.
Are you kidding me?
I used to cry at the freaking cookies.
Are you talking about Chips Ahoy?
Yeah, the ones that go da 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 da, like, you know. And I would cry over those.
You're not alone, Jen. You're not alone. The old school commercials for the scrubbing bubbles used to scare me.
Oh man.
Well, I was very afraid of vampires. In fact, this is a big reveal actually. When I was 4 years old, I don't know if my sisters know this story. When I was 4 years old, Lily and I shared a room.
You thought a vampire was going to come out of the wall,
out of the floor. I had a dream.
Right.
I had a nightmare that to this day I could depict every moment of it, where this green-faced vampire popped out of the floor in the corner of the room and was pointing and laughing at me, and thus began a fear of vampires that was overwhelming, such that when they had a Canadian Ruffles potato chip commercial where a vampire elects to eat chips instead of biting someone, I had to turn up the television.
That's amazing, but why don't you reveal the true terrifying part of this story, Shai?
What's the true terrifying part of the story?
That you had your like 2-year-old sister sleep on the top bunk because you were too scared, and you slept on the bottom bunk, and I had to climb up the ladder and go on the top because you're too scared to sleep on top.
That is accurate.
Hey, that's older sibling privilege. Vampire gets the younger ones first.
All right, so now we're gonna play. I love having. So, Lindsay, you are an avid listener of the show. I hope it's okay to share that with the listeners. And you always send us such fun, interactive stuff on Twitter. And you must be familiar. I wanted to make sure we played like a core game as part of the show, one of our core games when you came on, so we could give you the full experience. And
awesome.
we are going to do buy, rent, or meh. And Becky, would you like to explain how buy, rent, or meh goes?
Oh, wow, what a privilege. Yes, I would. Okay, so here's how it goes. We're going to bring up a category and then name three things within that category, and you have to choose out of those three. It could be a movie, it could be characters, something along those lines. It could be actors. You have to choose out of those three which would you buy. Like, imagine it's a movie, you're gonna actually buy it on your iTunes account or buy the DVD. Which would you be willing, so it's something you'd actually like to have in your catalog. Which would you rent? You'll entertain, you'll like it, you like it, it's good enough for one night, but you're not going back to it again. You don't really need to spend a lot of time with this character, movie, actor, whoever it is. And then meh can mean a lot of things. Meh can mean meh. It can mean meh. It can mean meh. You know what I mean? Like, depending how you're feeling it. It could be a fun meh. It could be more of like this isn't worth my time meh. Does that explain it?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
All right, so
I'm laughing so much at your descriptions of meh, by the way.
Oh yeah, and when
That's a very varied word.
And when you say you're meh, you should detail what that meh means, because meh really can mean a lot of different things. So,
like I'm saying, exactly like I was saying.
Like Becky went through a full range of mess there. So we're gonna start with the three creatures, beings that honestly, like, just the sight of them still gives me nightmares. But every once in a while I will still Google and read the entire Wikipedia pages about them and then get nightmares from the Wikipedia pages. So these are 80s slashers icons, buy, rent, or meh. I'll start us off with Lily. Would you be prepared to weigh in on this?
Sure.
Okay, we'll start off with Lily, and then I'll go to Lindsay. I'll go to our newbies. Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask wearing guy from all of the Friday the 13th movies, starting with the second one. He's not the bad guy in the first one. And Pinhead from the Hellraiser movie.
Oh God, I can't even. Like, I'm just thinking about the
poster.
the boxes of the VHS tapes and Nickelodeon video, and it's giving me nightmares.
So Lily, buy, rent, or meh, Freddy, Jason, Pinhead.
Buying Freddy, renting Jason. I can't even say the last one.
Okay. Well, why do you buy Freddy?
Because I feel like Freddy, I feel like is a very complex character. While I have yet to see one of the movies, I, like you said, have read extensively about them. Actually, I may have I caught part of one on TV. The first one on TV, I think a part of it. And I don't think right now I would watch it. I don't think I'd have a problem seeing it today. I just, haven't done it. But back then, like as a kid, there's no way I would ever watch that. But, having read about his character, like I feel like there's so much written about him. He's so famous that I just, I kind of appreciate it in a horrible way. I find Jason kind of dumb, so I'm just not as impressed. And the last one is just can't even. It's so terrifying. I don't even understand. I just know the poster. I don't want to know anything else about that movie.
All right, over to Lindsay. I know this is going to be tough for you. Buy, rent, or meh?
So at the risk of losing some horror movie credit, I actually don't like any of the 80s slasher characters.
Whoa.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I appreciate their status in pop culture and what they've done for horror, but it's not my thing, much like the torture movies. Just doesn't do it for me. But if I had to make choices, I would buy Freddy, I would rent Jason, and I would meh Pinhead.
Right. Pinhead's getting a lot of meh tonight. All right. Jen, do you've got thoughts?
I'm actually on board with the same past two results. by Freddy.
Wow.
Rent, Jason, and Pinhead. And also, mostly because, like Lindsay said, I'm not so much into it as like other types of horror, I guess.
Got it. Becky, do you have?
If you were to include Mike Myers from Halloween, he'd definitely be a buy. That's the one 80s slasher movie.
So I was debating whether or not to put him in instead of Pinhead. And then I was like, well, is that too obvious? Get a little, but wow, that's a buy. Why do you buy Michael Myers?
I think Halloween, out of those three categories, those movies, I think Halloween is the best made of those. I think that's still watchable today. The others they vary. There's like 15 of each of those movies, so it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean that first Halloween is Carpenter, right? Like he's
exactly.
so cool. He has so many cool movies.
Yeah, that movie
Jamie Lee Curtis.
And Jamie Lee
and they're remaking it, of course.
And I recall that first one is not super violent, right? Like it's more of a suspense movie.
Yes, and that's why it works.
All right, Becky, do you want to play?
No, because I haven't seen any of these movies because I'm not crazy. I don't know.
All right, I agree with the similar assessments. So I won't bore everyone with my thoughts, but I think Robert Englund, who played Freddy, is like brilliant, and I wish he had done more. And I thought him as Freddy is funny and hilarious, but the whole notion of Freddy is the scariest thing in the universe for me because I have very, very detailed dreams, as you can imagine. So I'm already afraid that they're real. I don't need anything making them seem more real. Okay.
Well, quick shout out to the Nightmare on Elm Street first movie. There's a Rush Grace Under Pressure poster above Johnny Depp's room.
Oh, cool. I did not know that. That's awesome. Because I didn't make it to that part of the movie. I got to the first kill and I was out. It's like, nope. I was at a party at Josh's house, Lily and Beck. Joshua has been on the show, and I actually asked everybody to change it. I was like, can we watch something else? And we watched The Crow. Okay.
Hilarious.
So next category is sci-fi horror. These
movies I have seen, so I can play this round.
All right, Beck, you go first. Alien, the original Alien, The Thing, and these are also all things that are singular. They're not all but like they're all singular. So Alien, The Thing, and The Fly, and I'm talking about the Goldblum fly.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously by Alien. I don't know why you would have by Alien. That it holds up today. I actually think I recently rewatched it. It 100% holds up. She is so good in that movie. Then I would for sure rent The Thing and The Fly because The Fly is the most disgusting movie I have. I think even today, if I were to watch it, it would still make me dry heave. It is disgusting. And The Thing is actually kind of like a weird, fun, scary, campy movie. So I think I watched it a couple of years ago for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is scaring me, but in a fun way. And The Fly is disgusting. That movie does not need to exist.
All right, yeah. Jen, how do you feel about these ones?
Again, I had the same exact lineup. I would definitely buy Alien. I'd rent Thing, and I'd mess Fly mostly because I honestly do not even recall anything about The Fly.
It's a lot of melting people.
It's a lot of melting.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've watched that before.
All right, okay.
But Alien is awesome.
Alien's amazing. I think Alien's a perfect movie and is still perfect. In fact, of all of the Alien movies, has aged the best. Like at one point, when I was a teenager and I saw Aliens, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! This is the greatest." But over time, my love for that one has faded. It doesn't hold up as well. Whereas Alien to me is just perfect.
Still holds up. It still really holds up, and I think it's because her performance is so good in it. You know?
Yeah.
If you watch Aliens. If you watch Aliens as an action movie, it holds up. It's not a horror movie like Alien, the first one. The tone is different.
Yeah, totally. It's right. It's more that James Cameron blockbuster. Bug hunt.
The same movie he's been making for decades.
Over to Lindsay. Wait, so Lindsay, got to know yours.
Okay, so this was the hardest choice of all the movies for deciding between. I would have to buy The Thing only because it has replayability. Without giving it away, there is a mystery in the movie, and it's fun to watch again once you know what's going to happen and then you try to figure out, piece things back together.
Oh.
I love the Alien.
Interesting.
I love Alien to death. It's one of my favorite horror sci-fi movies, so I hate to have to say to rent it, but just in this category I would. And The Fly, as much as I love David Cronenberg and those amazing special effects, as disgusting as they are incredible. I'm going to give that one a meh, just because it's in competition with the other two movies.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
I need to step in, obviously. Here. Alien is obviously incredible, number one by Jeff Goldblum, guys. So you can't. So Jeff Goldblum forever. I have got.
Also, he's
to
shirtless in
rent.
that movie, right? Isn't he shirtless when he goes in?
It's like he's at his peak. There's no way I would met him ever. Also, at
Peak
school,
Goldblum.
But I just feel like
It's
you would take
peak
peak
Goldblum.
Goldblum over peak Kurt Russell.
Yeah, 100%.
Would you
Really?
Would you take
yeah.
Pete Goldblum, the way he looks at the end of the movie, over Kurt Russell?
I'm no, but I would say that I just can't turn my back on Jeff. Number one. Number two, I feel like because at school, the degree I did involved a class that was called 70s film. And it was a class that dissected and, analyzed like movies in the 70s. And a part of that, they did a whole thing on horror. I don't know how The Fly got in there, but maybe it was like 70s and 80s. But they did, it was a whole class on it.
The Fly's like 80s, right?
Yeah, I think it's 80s, but maybe it was 70s and 80s horror film. And that was the subject. And I didn't take that class, obviously. I got to audit it for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, and the class I went to was The Fly. And it was like very cool to like hear a professor talk about it. And I was in the class with Cronenberg's nephew.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, which was hilarious. Yeah, he was a good friend.
I imagine that like Cronenberg's relatives have like sutured animal parts to them and like are partly cybernetic.
No, just like a nice dude.
That's a nice one to watch out for.
So
Right.
we have a WhatsApp chat that's going, and my sisters are trying to give me nightmares. Lily has sent me pictures of Pinhead. Becky just sent me a picture of The Fly. This is great. Okay,
The
so
Fly.
last buy renter. Jen. Oh no, Jen went. All right, so last buy renter meh here. Okay, we're gonna do genres of horror. And let's start with Jen. I'm going to start with Jen on this one because you lived in Japan, correct?
That is right.
All right. So you lived in Japan once. So the genres of horror I'm throwing out there are Japanese horror, like The Ring, Audition, body horror, so Alien, Human Centipede, maybe Thing counts as that. I'm not sure. And then zombie horror. And we'll go with like the more dramatic zombie movies, not zombie comedy, but like 28 Days Later, Resident Evil, Night of the Living Dead, things like that.
Yes, that's right up my alley.
So which ones do you buy, rent, or meh?
Oh, I thought you were gonna pick a certain one from each category.
Oh, no,
you
we're
want me to
thinking-
Oh, no,
The whole
just
genre.
the genres. You're buy, rent, or mang the whole genre. Japanese, body, or zombie.
Definitely buy the Japanese. I like so many of those. Actually, this is hard because I love the zombie ones too. Oh my goodness. Okay, I would buy the Japanese and rent the zombie and meh. What were the movies that
body
you gave
horror.
as an example for
Alien.
body horror?
Like
Human
Alien,
Centipede.
Human Centipede.
Oh man, Human Centipede was another one too. Why do you gotta give me the hard one, man?
No,
Okay, you
no,
know what? I'm
that's
gonna
not
keep it. I'm
hard.
gonna keep it like that.
Definitely Human Centipede.
Human Centipede was like, wow, that was the first time I saw it. Oh my gosh, I freaked out so much.
The
But then I
first
was
time?
Like, that was.
Is that a
like,
movie that
freak.
gets
You gotta see
re-
it again? Yes, I watched it. I would watch it every Halloween while carving pumpkins.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever made a pumpkin centipede? Stitching them together?
Oh,
I
my goodness.
attempted to.
I gotta say that is a pumpkin creation I would really want to see.
Yeah, me too.
I attempted to make the pumpkins eating each other, but it didn't work.
Aw.
Oh my God. Now, have you seen the other Human Centipedes movies? I read the summary of the third one the other day. Like, I was in a waiting room and bored, and I realized there's a third one, and I nearly threw up.
I saw two.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think I knew there was a third one.
They just released a third one, and it sounds like the grossest
Oh,
thing
okay.
ever made. Okay. All right, Lindsay. How
Now
do
I
you,
gotta go watch it.
all right, Lindsay. What do you buy, rent, or man the genres of horror?
Okay, so I'm definitely going to buy Japanese horror. Just curious, how many of you have seen Audition?
Nope.
Yes,
Only Lily has seen it, I think.
What do you think?
I saw it.
Me? I haven't seen that. I don't even know
Have
what
you
that
seen
is.
Audition? It's like considered this like the scariest movie ever made.
Don't even for sure. No one in my family has heard of that. So let's not even say this out loud. I don't know what that is.
I've seen it on like lists of things, like when they do like top horror movies of all time, and then like Rob Zombie will come on and talk about how this is the movie, like the guy who like is made all of those other horror movies, like this is the movie that scares him. And I read the summary of it, and it's terrifying. But that's as far as I could go with
I'm
Audition.
looking at it now. No, I don't know, but I can definitely provide it for them as like maybe this will scare them, but I won't be there. I'll have to arrange.
So wait, Lindsay, what are your
Audition is like a Rob Zombie movie, except it's good.
Okay.
I guess that's how I describe it. So yeah, I would buy Japanese horror. I would rent body horror. And a huge meh to zombie horror. I'm so sick of it.
Oh,
it just
wow.
needs to die and not be resurrected.
Ooh,
Unlike
so
a zombie.
You want undead to be dead.
Yes, just bury it.
Is it
Bury it in cement.
Is it Walking Dead that did it in for you, or what did it in for you?
Walking Dead was a catalyst, but I can't give all the blame to Walking Dead because the zombie fanaticism has definitely spread to video games as well, and it's become so stale and generic. It's just an easy cash-in for people.
Which is probably why I would buy it, because it's the least scary of the three categories. I'm like, oh, zombies, they're not real, and lots of people make scary movies about them. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, it's so
Zombie horror.
formulaic. It's not scary anymore.
The other two, I just won't watch. So those are my categories as I've broken them down. I will buy zombie horror and not watch anything else. Like, I'll watch an alien movie, but no, that's about as much.
So I'm gonna, in this group, even though I could never watch the Human Centipede, I'm gonna buy body horror because when Alien does the body horror stuff, I think they do such an amazing job. I'm gonna rent zombies because I excluded zombie comedy because that is its own world and everyone knows how much I love that. But I dig the Resident Evil movies and I'm maying the Japanese horror. This is not a dismissive meh. This is like a humble meh because Japanese horror scares me so much. Just the note, like the level of fear that the Japanese filmmakers are able.
I'm curious if The Ring holds up.
I'd say the Gore Verbinski one does, the American remake.
It does. I mean, I saw that in high school. I remember seeing that and like being scared.
The atmosphere, the music, the tone, it's all still pretty creepy.
And I remember feeling like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. I can watch this movie. I remember like when a girl from high school came over and we watched it, and then like, she went home or whatever, and at night I'll never forget like going to bed, like whatever, I'm so cool, I can see scary movies. And then I got thirsty, and my parents' house was like all dark, everybody was sleeping, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to the kitchen and get water. And I made it to the first landing of like the stairs, and I was like, meh, not that thirsty. And I couldn't go down. I couldn't go down to the kitchen by myself.
When you're still scared after watching a horror movie, then it's done its job. It's a good movie.
Oh my goodness! Do you know that the scenes in The Sixth Sense when the kid is like,
don't even bring that up. That's embarrassing for
when
you.
he's running to the bathroom because he's terrified he's going to see something. Still to this day, sometimes if I'm a little bit scared, like at night, but like I'll like bolt to the bathroom because I'm afraid I'm going to see something. This is an odd choice for me. I'm basically not going to sleep after this episode. Okay.
Oh no.
Well, thank you all for indulging us in the horror movie conversation.
I think you skipped the horror comedy section.
Oh yeah, I sometimes I leave one out. But if you really want to do it, let's do it. Quickly.
Okay, no.
No. For time reasons, Lindsay, you can do it. Shaun of the Dead, Evil Dead. What do we do in the shadows?
Oh, well, I'm the worst person to pick first because I haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows. So I'd have to med that. I would buy Shaun of the Dead, and if it was Evil Dead Army of Darkness, I would have bought that, but I'm going to rent that instead.
Okay, well, I obviously am going to have to come in with a rebuttal because What We Do in the Shadows is amazing and must be seen by everyone, and it is so funny and so good, and we should all watch it and then just do an episode talking only about that. Anyways. That's all.
The director is Thor Ragnarok, right? I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but it's the same director.
Yes, it's
Waititi.
Taika
Waititi.
So, Jen, I'll give you a fair shot on horror comedy, even though I don't know if you have thoughts.
I've only seen Shaun of the Dead.
Did you like
it? Of those 3.
All right, so I guess
did.
You buy that one by default. All right, so
I buy that, and the other is you can toss a coin.
Okay, so now we'll go to the part of the show where we will exit horror. I have one more horror question. Is the movie The Conjuring good? Like, is that considered scary? Because I feel like you're only asking Lindsay. I realize at this point, Lindsay and Jen, because at this point, Becky and I don't even know what you're talking about.
I have nothing to contribute to this episode.
I'm just saying that I remember that movie came out and everybody was saying that this is like a great news. When Get Out, people are like, this is a really good movie, but it's not just also scary. It's good. And I remember The Conjuring came out, and that's all everybody was talking about. And my in-law family forced me to watch it. They all fell asleep. And I was sitting there by myself, watching this movie, and every time I'd go turn it off, somebody would wake up and be like, no, we want to see what happens. And I remember I couldn't sleep that night, and I was terrified, and I'm like, wait, is this actually scary if I'm the only one that's awake? But I was curious, because I was terrified of that movie.
It's definitely one of the better modern horror movies, but I didn't care much for it.
So
give us a good one.
Oh yeah, we started off promising we'd hear Lindsay's thoughts on what is a real horror movie. So what is a good one? What makes
after hearing what you guys said earlier, I'm going to recommend Audition. And if you want something newer, I would recommend The Neon Demon. This is definitely not a movie. Definitely do not have your children anywhere in the vicinity when you have this movie on.
Ooh, I'm Googling it right now.
And what makes a horror movie good for you?
Atmosphere, tone, a lot, the majority, I would say, of horror movies, cheap jump scares, loud noise. It's boring. Who isn't scared by a loud noise? But if a movie can create an effective atmosphere where you're tense the entire time, then that makes a good horror movie for me. If you're thinking about it after you've watched a movie, or even weeks after, then it's done its job. A jump scare you're going to forget about. You're going to jump for a second, and then you're going to move on with your life.
Fascinating.
All right.
Got it.
Lily, looks like you're watching Audition with Mom and Dad tonight.
Perfect movie to watch with the parents.
Oh my God, I don't think so.
Speaking of watching with the parents.
Because, right, that's... anyways.
Speaking of watching with the parents, it's a great segue, Becky, for what Becky recommends.
Oh yeah, Beck, go ahead. So we're going to segue now into where we talk about our recommendations, just what we're watching. This is a free for all.
I've had a busy week. I've had a really busy week. I gotta tell you, normally I don't have I was just in a Life in Pieces rabbit hole the last few weeks, but this week I watched the Ali Wong special, Hard Knock Wife, which if you do have children, you will laugh your face off. And if you don't have children, it's really important to watch because it is the perfect explanation of what it is like to have a baby.
And then if you don't have children, it's a perfect explanation that reminds you, good on you for not having a baby.
Her line about how joining a mom's group is like The Walking Dead. You just need to hook up with crew to survive. I'm still laughing
about that. I was trying to explain that to my dad. I was like, Dad, you don't understand. She described it perfectly. Once you have a kid, you're out there into the apocalypse and you hang out with people you would never hang out with. But it's you got to hook up with the first crew that you find, so you don't get eaten alive. It's so true.
I saw that. I also went to a Paul Simon concert on Friday night, his farewell tour. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was a little weird. He kind of spoke the songs more so than sang them, but he did mostly hits. So I'm not going to complain because it was mostly the hits.
I'll jump here and say, we have a cool podcast announcement, but we have just crossed 2,000 downloads, which is, I think, kind of a neat milestone.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I feel like when we get to 3,000, which I hopefully people will help us do, at 3,000, I think I should release some of the footage of the three of us dancing with Dad.
Dancing to Paul Simon.
Dancing to Paul Simon's Call Me Al.
To be fair, I'm not really dancing so much as toddling around in a housecoat eating an apple. But you and Lily are boogieing in that
so
video.
that's it. I'm saying it right here. I'm doing a tradesies with the universe here. If we get to 3,000 downloads, I will post, I don't know, an Instagram stories worth of us boogieing with Dad in the living room in Philadelphia.
Specifically, I would like you to share the part where you air drum. That's my favorite part. And we...
Oh God! I can't believe. Well, it's good. It'll take a few months for us to do this.
And then lastly, the last thing I saw, which I loved it so much. Last night we watched Call Me by Your Name, which I really didn't know what to expect. And it was the best way to go into the film. It was so well made. It was so beautifully shot. I don't remember the last time I saw a film where every single shot in it, feels thoughtful and purposeful, and it's telling the story and it's different.
I think it's hilarious that Steph, a few months ago, Steph came on the show and said it was so boring I turned it off.
I loved it. Oh my God, I loved it so much. I'm gonna rewatch it this week. That's how much I loved it. I thought it was one of the most beautiful movies I've seen in a long time.
This is a movie that Shy for sure won't be able to watch.
I don't expect.
I don't know. I surprise you.
But Lily, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's so good.
Okay, and then things you can't watch with your parents. All right, Becca, are you done? I wasn't sure if you had watched more things this week.
You're being very polite, Lily. We're going to get angry emails now again.
No, I'm saying I'm being facetious. Could she watch more television, for God's sakes?
I also went to a concert, and I'm throwing a barbecue later, okay? I do other things.
Yeah, Lil, some people can keep up on their shows and their life at the same time.
I can. And so my sister-in-law, your wife, texts me and she's like, you have to watch this Ali Wong special. And I was like, okay, sure, yeah. She's like, you cannot watch it with your dad. And I was like, okay.
Our dad,
she's like,
for
no.
Jen and Lindsay, our dad gets very anxious during certain R-rated humor.
Right. Potty humor or just sexy, anything that's remotely.
He likes a good violent movie. Beheadings, shoot 'em up. He loves that kind of thing. Showed me Red Heat when I was 9 years old. No issue there.
But yeah, there's sort of the humor though when it's anyways. And so I was like, okay, and I was alone with my mom, and so I was like, perfect. I was like, but I can watch it with my mom, of course. I know that. Watching something raunchy and pretty disgusting where the word pussy is said 500 times with our mom was one of the most. I was texting Becky being you have to imagine the laugh that's going on right now. Becky's
how come you didn't film Mom?
How
come you didn't film Mom laughing?
Because we had such bad internet that we were watching it on my phone, and the whole time I was thinking, why am I watching it on my phone instead of filming her? She was doing her cackle laugh where she's ee, because she's laughing so hard, and she kept just saying over and over again, you cannot show this to your father. Your father cannot watch this show. So it was pretty funny watching something disgusting with our mom this week. That's what I watched.
Awesome. So I have been binging the CW superhero shows. I picked those up in the summer.
Ooh, we want to hear about it just as much as you want to watch it.
It's just it's my summer, my travel shows. I watch these on the airplane. Ugh. And I powered through the whole season of Arrow, and I powered through the Legends of Tomorrow. And look, these are not perfect shows. They're CW shows, but I love that CW is a network where I never have to worry about them canceling a show I like just because it hits in a rough patch. They commit. They commit. But I just want to tell you, I want to watch an episode of The Legends of Tomorrow with Lily because I enjoy when she hates things that I love. And I wrote the notes down. I summarized this episode. I was watching an episode where they have to go back to World War I to kidnap J.R.R. Tolkien to help him find a buried vial of Jesus's blood. Of Jesus's blood that somehow he found in order to destroy the Spear of Destiny. So that was the whole plot of that episode.
Okay.
All right. Other things that I saw. I watched not one but 2 documentaries in this past week, which I think gives me a little street cred with Becky. One of them, until I tell you what they're about. One of them was called Hired Gun, and I watched it on the airplane, but I think it's on Netflix, and it is all about side musicians and bands, and it talks about Liberty DeVito is one of the main characters, who was Billy Joel's drummer for many years. And it is really, really, it's a little bit longer than it probably should be, but it's pretty cool if you're interested in music. And then I watched another one called Sheik, which was all about the Iron Sheik, who was a wrestler in the 80s. Do you guys know who he was at all?
I've heard the name. Anyways,
for the first hour, I didn't know anything about him. I've not kept up on this guy at all. For the first hour, it was like your typical...
Sorry, you say that as if other people have kept up on him.
No, all I'm saying is that I would like...
Okay, I'm sorry. Explain this movie about was it a 1980s wrestler?
Yeah. So for the first hour, okay, the Iron Sheik story is just like your typical. Oh, he was a wrestler, and then he fell off, and he got into drugs, and his life was ruined. And then I won't ruin it because you don't know much about him.
Ruin it, just ruin it.
Anyways, the last half hour of the movie is his redemption when he becomes a social media star, which I had no idea he was, but he's like this.
Then he's not that much of a star. If you had no idea.
Anyways, and it was quite funny and irreverent and also like pretty offensive. But anyways, it was because I knew nothing about where the story was going. It was an interesting twist.
Did the documentary convince you to follow him on social media?
No, not that much. Maybe.
So its tiniest call to action would have just been to like follow on Twitter. Not even willing to do. Got it. What other inspiring nonfiction pieces did you watch?
That's another of the 2. Then I saw Deadpool. Allie and I went to see Deadpool 2 last night. Which
awesome!
Was
I want to see that.
Fantastic. Delivered on its promises.
Good.
I again, things I want to see with Lily, just so she can ask me the questions about Cable's backstory. I don't know, Lindsay or Jen, do you guys follow X-Men at all?
Not comics.
Oh, okay. Look, Lily, just so you know, Cable is the son who was transported into the future of Cyclops and a clone of Jean Grey, who comes back in time.
What?
Yeah.
Oh God.
There's too many different things that need to happen for us to, understand.
But as a movie on its own, it's awesome and hilarious. And then last but not least, the beginning of the movie, it's at Regal Theaters. And at the beginning of Regal Theaters, they have these commercials that strike me as very similar to what they use to lure like young women into like human trafficking rings, because like they have this ad that goes on that says, "Would you like to start a career in the movies? Get a job working at this movie theater. Apply now." And I'm like, I think that's how they're like, "Would you like to be a model?" And then boom, you get kidnapped. Like,
careful, Shy.
Who's going to work at the movie theater thinking they're getting their start in the movie business? Unless someone I don't know. I thought it was terrifying. All right, Jen, do you have any recommendations for the listeners?
I have no life outside of school and work at the moment, so it'd be hard pressed to find something to contribute right now. Then I'm running on like 32 hours straight of no sleep, so I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have no idea.
If you were on a plane recently, because you're at the airport, unless you just hang out at the airport, that's okay too. Did you?
No, I just came to New York today, and there were no TVs. And usually when I'm on the plane, I'm just doing work.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have like class and 4 part-time jobs all online.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. You are forgiven.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'll do better next time.
No problem. No problem. Well, maybe you'll watch some of the things that we recommended, and you can report back.
Yeah, they're on my list.
All right.
When I get a break to breathe.
All right, Lindsay, what do you got?
Okay, so I'll make this short because I don't want Jen to pass out. I also have no life. I have Netflix maybe 2 months out of the year when I can get it for free. I don't have Amazon Prime. I don't have cable. So my recommendations.
You and I talked about this.
Yeah. I get what I can when it's free or affordable. But my recommendation is going to be old hat. I'm going to recommend Black Mirror. It is a show on
Oh,
Netflix.
are you? That is so interesting.
Do you know about this? Do you know about this challenge that's been
No,
going
about
on the
this.
show? Lily has been trying to get me to
One episode. One goddamn episode.
You have a
One.
specific episode in mind, or you just want
I
him to
would-
watch one episode?
No, one episode I have in mind. It's not scary. I've preliminarily, however you say that, viewed it. I've screened it, if you will, to prove it's not scary. It's very interesting. He will not do it.
Is it the USS Callister episode?
No, it's the Hang the DJ episode from this past season.
Ah. Well, what
You
I was
saw
going to
it?
say about it is it's an anthology, like Twilight Zone. So every episode, you're getting something different. And like she said, they're not all scary. They can be tense or unnerving, but they're not all straight up horror. If I had to recommend one episode, it'd be the Christmas episode with John Hamm, because he's such a charming scumbag.
He is. But that's very interesting that you recommended Black Mirror.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
If you want to feel bad about yourself and society and technology, then you should watch Black Mirror.
Right. Although San Junipero and Hang the DJ are actually kind of uplifting episodes. I
Yes,
feel like.
San Junipero does have.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but yes.
Right.
All
Those are,
right.
like, sort of.
If
Shy,
I'm ever
you would like San Junipero. There's nothing scary about it. Literally nothing.
okay. Well, if I'm
Lindsay's
ever
very
convinced,
expert.
if I'm convinced to watch it, Lindsay will come back and we will break this down with us. All right. All right. Now we shall do our shout outs. I love this part of the show because it's not like we get paid to do this by anyone, but it is really fun to like talk about all the awesome people that we've interacted with through social media or through the podcast, etc. So, and we always have like a little list of people we want to shout out to, and this is a good time to do it. And people should follow them on their social media or buy their stuff, or I don't know. So, first of all, a shout out to the Rush family. Jen and Lindsay and I are all part of it, and I don't think there's a more supportive, wonderful group of people on the internet.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are folks who, like, if they sense you're having a bad day, you'll get a direct message from someone being like, "Hey, cheer up. We're thinking of you."
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there'll be a fruit basket at your doorstep the next day. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Aw,
And
so cute.
I had a
Because
chance.
we love you. It's all out of love.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had a chance
Mom,
now.
Our mom tried to ask me like who was going to be on the show, and I was like, it's Shy's Twitter gang, and Mom's like, what? And I'm like, he's like amazing women that he's, that support his art and they're friends with him, and she's like, but I know them, right? Like if they're friends of Shy's, I would know them. I'm like, well, not really. I'm like, they're from Twitter. She's like, I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth.
I don't either, to be honest.
But it's pretty cool. It's like actually when you try to explain it to somebody, it's kind of hard to explain, but it is pretty impressive and amazing, this community.
Yeah, so take that, Black
very
Mirror
cool.
technology.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
haven't
then,
reached the ending yet. You never know.
and then that's true. And then because we talked about horror, another awesome group of people are the Ghostweeters, the Ash vs. Evil Dead fans, and the people at 1428 Elm, Susan, Anthony, Big Luke, Gavin. Shout out to you guys. You're awesome. And I hope you all listen to this episode and weigh in. These are like true experts on the horror genre. Susan and Anthony cover it for 1428 Elm, and they write such interesting articles about this stuff. And last but not least, well, cousin Vanessa, of course. I had a cousin Vanessa who I haven't seen in like 15 years.
Hi, cousin Vanessa. I've been waiting a long time to do that.
She appreciates it. She's so friendly. She'll love it.
Lily, how about you? Shout outs?
I have a shout out to Lindsay for recommending Neon Demon because I just realized that I didn't know that I love the director, Nicholas Winding Refn. I don't know how to. I'm not Swedish.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Drive is one of my favorite movies. Like ever. I love that movie, and Only God Forgives is good, but I guess I just really like this director and his style, so I'm very intrigued, so thank you in advance for that.
Well, you might want to hold that thank you until you watch the movie.
But this strikes me as more psychological than like horrific.
Yes. Well, yeah, we'll go with that. Yes.
Okay. Ooh, it's got cool actors. Elle Fanning.
Right, yeah. Keanu Reeves is in it?
Yep.
I like a Keanu situation.
Me too. So like I'm going to be with my in-laws in a few weeks, so I will propose this, and at least I can like think about it from an artistic point of view if I have to sit through one of these movies.
I'm looking forward to the next podcast when you talk about how you felt.
my experience. But yeah, no, other than that, I shout out to Jen as well for being on the show. Really appreciate your time and effort and your art. So that's it.
Cool.
Thank you. I love you guys.
Thank you. All right, Becky.
Oh, yeah, I want to give a shout out to What Does It Eat? I recently purchased their new EP via their
By the way,
Indiegogo campaign.
I am so honored that you like would even refer to my band in the third person. Like you're so kind that you're like as if they were these other people.
Anyways, I recently purchased their new EP via their Indiegogo campaign. I love it. I think there's some extremely special songs on it. I got some very cool rewards, and so I recommend everyone check that out and get yourself some good tunes and some good special treats from the What Does It Eat gang.
Now, if I may make a couple of comments. Number one, Lindsay, also, your chocolate bar is in the mail, I hope. I hope you've gotten it.
Yes. I'm waiting. I know it'll be here.
It will be. They've started to arrive. They are coming from Canada. They have to clear customs. And my youngest daughter, Becky, was singing the song that is about your daughter all day today, non-stop. In fact, there's a video that Allie sent, but she just, I mean, I gotta say, like, no one knows our music. Like, the people on this phone call knows our music, and that's about it. But the fact that I was in the car today and my two kids were requesting songs that Howie and I wrote I was like, oh, okay, 20 plus years of making music all came to this moment. I get it. You know, this was worth all of it.
Aww.
So it was special.
Awesome.
Lindsay, you got any shout-outs?
Okay, well, of course, shout-outs to everyone who was previously mentioned, especially Cousin Vanessa. She's the best. And I'm gonna quickly shout out to a podcast called Scene and Nerd, and abbreviated, in light of you talking about the CW superhero shows, because that's what they talk about it. And since I don't have cable, I kind of watch those shows vicariously through them. So they're on Twitter and SoundCloud and everywhere you can find podcasts. I would check them out if you're into the CW shows.
Shy. That has your name all over it.
Those guys are super nice. I have not listened to it yet because I'm so far behind on the shows. I have to like try to sync up my watching with their episods.
Yeah, I think they just talked about the Flash finale, so they're pretty on top of things.
Oh, I'm not even on the Flash finale from last year yet. So,
okay. So I've got some catching up to do.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's great. Jen.
Is it weird to make a shout out to you on your own podcast?
No, I don't.
No, there are no rules.
Because I am so honored that you are honored to have us on your podcast. And I'm just glad that you're even inviting us, but you're so happy about it. And it's just like, we're all like happy for each other. And I think that's awesome. And shout out to you for just being awesome. All of you.
Thank you, Jen. This is it, Lindsay and Jen. You're officially in the Friday Night Movie family.
This is the best airport trip I've ever had. And I hate coming to the airport.
Very, very cool. And speaking of recommending podcasts, there's a podcast that I have decided is kind of like my happy place. I think I'm starting to become, Flight of the Conchords, Lillian Beck? Mm-hmm. I'm starting to become the Christian Shaw character of the of the We Don't Know What We're Talking About podcast. I've been
number one fan.
I've been making them fan art. I made them an animation the other day, and I don't even send them publicly. I just send them to them. It's like, guys, I was just listening to your episode, and I felt like I needed to animate this picture of a haunted Raggedy Ann doll popping out of the fish hat that you pull your topics out of every week. And so that show truly makes me so happy. They're just two wonderful people, it seems like, talking about fun things. So people should check that out. All right. Jen, where can people follow you?
I recently changed my Twitter handle, so it's not wrong Jen anymore. It's at SundogGen. So you can find me there, and it's the same on Instagram too, if you have Instagram.
Super. And Lindsay, where can people follow you?
People can follow me at Aferos, XII, Roman numerals for 12, at Twitter. And I just want to commend you, Shai, for pronouncing it correctly every time you mention it, despite never hearing it out loud. That makes me really happy.
I try my best.
No,
I try my best.
To me, it's Afrox. That's how I say it in my head. So I'm glad you guys pronounce it.
And you all are both the creators of sundogsfire.com, and everyone should go there. And
Jen is the creator. I am just a humble participant.
well, you are the.
Oh, you be quietly.
You
You
are.
are very much creator as I am.
You have so much. You have so much cool gear and iPhone cases and pads and things.
And
that
plates.
I keep buying, and now.
And we have more secret projects coming up.
Oh, I'm excited. Wait, am I allowed to talk about the plates?
Yes.
So what? Yeah, of course.
Okay, so now you
I
can
have to-
buy official Pancake for the Table dinnerware, plates, and
I
bowls.
told that to our mom today. I hope that wasn't like
And
that
I
I
think
told her.
the page might still be a little glitchy. If it is, I'm sorry, because I haven't had time to fix all the bugs. But I'm gonna get to that as soon as I get back tonight. But yes, they're there.
Well,
And
our
they
mom is
just-
going to be your first client because she wants to buy all of it.
Oh,
she just told me.
please. There's
She
nothing
said,
that would make me happier
"There's
than mom buying.
dinnerware." She said, "There's a policeman." I'm like, "I don't know what there is, Mom, but there's going to be something like that." And she's like, "I need all of it. Sign me up for all of it." It was very
And
cute.
now that I just moved and I have my own place too, I need to buy those for myself, like dishes with pancake stuff on it.
I need those coasters. I need them.
The coasters. Oh, that's awesome. All right, Lily, get mom on that.
yeah, she's asleep. She fell asleep next to me. Literally, she passed out. But I'll tell her that she's gonna be so excited.
And
This is a real thing.
And Lily, where can people follow you?
Chichi K. Gomez at thetwitter.com, and go follow me there right
Not
now
at
because
thetwitter.com.
you know what I mean.
We know what you mean.
Because I got a piece out right now,
Okay.
a half hour ago.
But
so
everyone should tweet at Lily because she's pretty hilarious to tweet with.
Yes.
I wish I could tweet more.
If she
I
can
knew
find
how
your
to.
tweets and not like
Yeah.
her own, she'll get into a great conversation with you.
Yeah, I'm getting into the concept of it. It's just, it's a terrible platform. It's really difficult to use. But it's a lot of fun. So thank you guys for being on the show. Sorry to peace out, but I gotta go. And I hate to run early because I love the post show chit chat like the next guy. I have a terrible time saying goodbye. You guys know.
Yeah, we know because you said about half an hour ago you were going to
just so you guys know, when Lily,
call.
so in our family we have a lot of cousins on our, particularly on our mother's side of the family. When you're starting to say goodbye at an event, you have to start 45 minutes before you intend to leave.
Basically, when you arrive,
That's
you should start
exactly
saying
like a Spanish goodbye.
Oh yeah, well
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
our mom's Cuban, so that's where that's
Oh,
that side
okay,
of the
then that
family.
makes sense.
That's from. It's
Because,
from
Take it
you know,
seriously.
my parents Puerto Rican, so
oh really?
our
So
mom-
our mom was
our mom-
raised in
yeah.
Puerto Rico.
She grew up in Puerto Rico.
that's where it comes from, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. It's a Latin thing. So very, very long goodbyes. And Lily is the ultimate of all of those.
Right.
in that
No,
sense.
to the point where if I don't have to rush, I love to hang out on the show post and do the post show chat. But I can't tonight. I wish I could because you guys are awesome.
All right.
Sorry for the laugh.
Bye, Lil. Thanks for being on.
Bye,
Love
Lil.
you.
Bye, guys.
Nice
So
to
fun
meet you.
talking to you. Nice to meet you guys too.
We love you.
Bye. Love you guys too, and your art.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
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 All right,
Beck.
Becky, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at PaperBKPrincess. You can also check out some of my recipes at everydayoat.com. We still have this pesto recipe app that I have been using pretty much nonstop lately. I've been making lots of pizzas. So I'm toying with maybe putting a pizza recipe up there next for some ideas of how to use this pesto.
Sounds
So
delicious.
that's-
Becky is the best cook in our generation of our family. She is awesome. No one touches mom, but Becky's ridiculously amazing.
Thank you.
And you,
And I love eating, so I'm going to have to check those out.
Well, if you make
make that an Indiegogo reward tier.
Go cook you dinner. Okay.
Oh, maybe that'll be because we have there is another album in the works. The second EP is already coming, is already being fabricated, and that will have different rewards. So we shall see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Me. You can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow all of the Pancake Shenanigans at pancake4table.com. If you only like this podcast, go to go to FridayNightMoviePod.com. If you enjoy the buttery tones and the reason, which is what Jen and Lindsay often joke with me about, the buttery tones of my voice, and you want to hear...
it's no joke. It's real.
And you want to hear more of my talking, I have joined up with a fellow Gold Nerd from the Gold Nerds family, Ashley, and we are working on a podcast called Behind the Music, where we are going to be watching every episode of Behind the Music that we can find and review it afterwards. And so we're in like soft launch mode now. There are a couple episodes up you can find on iTunes, but we'll start promoting it when we get a few more under our belt. And
did Rush ever have a Behind the Music?
They did not have a Behind the Music. Aww. So otherwise, believe me, we would go deep on that. I have other plans to tackle other musical issues though, so stay tuned. I have a Rush idea, and you guys will have to you and Jen will have to participate in the Rush themed idea. It's just down the road.
I'll be there.
Down the road.
Standing by.
And speaking of music, the theme song is in fact by What Does It Eat? The theme music from this podcast, and that will be kicking in right now. Only it's post-production, so you got to dance in your chair.
I'm dancing.
Or dance in the airport.
I've been dancing the whole podcast. It's good cardio.
Yeah, there you go. And Lindsay, prove that you did it or didn't dance, but I'll believe in my heart that you did.
Yes.
I believe you're dancing. Even if it was just your fingers, you were dancing.
I'm dancing.
I record myself dancing in the airport.
Thank you all for being a part of this, and thank you everybody for listening.
All right. Bye, gang.
Bye.
Thanks all of you for being awesome. I love you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Lily,
I'm so sorry.
You just accidentally recalled the group chat. Did you call back because you were having FOMO?
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm for my train now. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Sorry. Bye. Sorry.